Hello everyone, and welcome to my favorite part of the week, which is making beer reviews, the beer drinking part of the week. As you know, I indeed love my beers, everyone. And I am really excited to go and be reviewing this beer. You know, when I tried it, I was going to have 2 cans out of the 4-pack, but I ended up just drinking one can out of that 4-pack because I wanted to go and savor this beer and make it last over the long haul. And what beer am I talking about? As you know, I tend to review local beers. So, this is Maui Brewing's Land of Rainbows Tart Saison. So, as it says here on the label, ale brewed with Mosaic and Huel melon hops. Also uses a Belgian-style yeast and a kettle souring during the fermentation process. This is 5.5 ABV, and if I remember correctly, it is about 15 IBUs. So, see here, this is fairly fresh. So, just canned in the, looks like the middle of June, so a couple months old. And without much further ado, we're going to get to this in the tulip glass. This is really hard to do without fingernails, let me tell you. Just the wonderful smell that comes out of this. So, a bright, slightly hazy yellow with a fizzy to frothy white head. Quickly dissipates. The smell is just wonderful in the nose. You can smell those Huel melon hops. And I'm guessing they got their name melon hops because they have a particularly strong scent of melon, really. Underneath that, that sort of dank mosaic smells. Overwhelming juiciness. Not much sense of the malts here, but it's a sour, so you just kind of have that minerality underneath the hoppiness. Just a wonderful beer all around. So, tartness, front, center, and finish, but not tongue-scorchingly so. As another review has said, it leans almost a little bit more towards Goza-style sour than Saison sour, you know, farmhouse-style sour. But I suppose that's an artifact of the kettle styling. And despite the fact that the tartness is so heavy on the palate, in the effervescent notes, there is that very much a Belgian yeast thing going on in the effervescent notes. So up here, you're not really getting, you know, sour notes. You're getting a lot of that Belgian yeast smell up there. So these wonderful phenolic notes on top of this very almost citric tartness on the palate. Really interesting contrast. It's a brief flash of mid to finish sweetness. Very brief, very light before that tartness and the long sour finish reasserts itself. What's interesting is I find that there's almost a hint of melon, even on the palate from this particular style of hops, the melon wheel hops. And these are very scenting hop notes. They're more for the bouquet than any sort of palate presence. There's very little palate presence at all, especially in regards to the high tartness, high acidity of this beer. Just very present. Yeast and hops very still present in the effervescent. And there's really that contrast there, and it's really interesting. Forgot to get into it, but there's also a nice biting carbonation. Reminds me, I'm going to need to go and figure out a way to do a deep clean on this glass because the head receded far too fast for my taste here. Plus, too, you saw that sort of bubbling on the side. That means that there's probably still some oils from when... Because I don't use soap on my glasses. I just have like a special, two special towels that I use to, after I wash it off in hot water, to kind of like, just kind of clean the glass, dry the glass. And I'm guessing some sort of my hand oils must have like stayed on there. So I'm going to go and wash my hands very well. And then go and give this a nice hot water cleaning and then toweling down. I want a bit more head on this, a bit more lasting head on this. A bit more of that effervescent aspect there, so I can better enjoy the more olfactory qualities of this beer. I suppose as it warms up, some more juicy, some other juicy aspects are starting to show up in the finish there. But not much. Still that tartness, still that minerality that a lot of kettle sours have. But I am really just enjoying that counterplay. I mean, almost, I'm going to say it, almost, counterplay is probably not the best word. I'm going to go and relate to a word used in music. Counterpoint, where you have like this sort of sour bass line playing there. I mean, that's pretty regular, and then you have like this wonderful high aspect of hops, two different kinds of hops and Belgian yeasts playing on your nose while that tart bass note is just playing on your tongue. And I absolutely love it because it's so distinct, it's so apparent in there. With this beer, that it really kind of goes to show you how important just the nose is in tasting things. Because, like I said, there's very little in regards to on your tongue, in your mouth, that you feel in regards to the hops being used, in regards to the yeast being used. It's all there in the nose. And just that interplay there is just so fascinating to me. It's just so wonderful that I am going to kind of like highly recommend this one as just a good example of the brewer's art, and in this case sort of demonstrating how important the sense of smell is in the enjoyment of beer. As it's really warmed up now, because it's kind of hot outside, I've kind of noticed. Yeah, a little bit more of the hop notes have kind of started showing up there, but still pretty much a tartness show. So, Land of Rainbows, Tart Saison. Maybe a little bit tart for the style, hence why they're probably saying Tart Saison rather than Farmhouse Saison or just Saison. But just as, like I've kind of like rhapsodied on about already, just this wonderful display of like counterpoint between palate taste and palate feel versus what you're getting in the more effervescent, what you're getting in the nose. And you know what? That's your beer review for tonight, folks. definitely try to get this. Like I said, this is a seasonal. This is the first time I've seen it. I don't know if they're going. How long it takes them to go, and I know they bring back seasonals every now and then, but it's not pretty regular, so it's not a yearly thing for them. So if you get a chance to, go and grab some of this and give it a shot. It's just a great beer. That's a beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers.